for our project, we're going to take data and plug it into the quadratic model y equals at squared plus bt plus c, where y is depth and t is the time that might be measured by your tick marks, it might be measured in seconds or minutes or whatever. So, for example, if we have three data points, three y versus t values, okay? Then we can take the y and the t from each value, from each line of our table, perhaps, and plug it in here. Plug in the value of y for y, plug in the value of t for t. Okay? Now, if we do that with these three values, then we get, first of all, if y is 250 when t is 0, then we're going to have 250 for y, we're going to have 0 for both of our t's, and we're going to get something that looks like 250, that's the y, equals the at squared would be a times 0 squared, b times t would be b times 0, and then plus c. And of course, since a times 0 squared is 0 and b times 0 is 0, this is just 250 equals c. Now I write that over here as c equals 250 because it's going to look better to us that way. You'll see. Okay, well, then we do the same thing for t equals 30 and y equals 180. Y is 180, so we put 180 on this side of the equal sign. And then each of our t's is going to be 30, so we're going to have a 30 here and a 30 here. This 30 is going to be squared because t is squared. And 30 squared is 900, which is fairly easy to calculate without a calculator. So what we end up with is putting things in the same order. Here I put the 180 on the other side, and I put my c first and then my b and my a. So I've got my c, I've got my 30 times b, and I've got 300 squared, or 30 squared times a, which is 900a. And here's the equation I get for these points, for this time and this depth. And then for 110 and 120, I do the same thing. Y is 120, so that goes here. T is 110, so that goes here and here. 110 squared is 12,100, which isn't written very well here, but that's what it says. And here's what we get. Now, what I asked everybody to do was subtract the first equation from each of the others. Now, I did that in detail. I did the second minus the first, and the way I did it was I wrote the second equation down here. Okay, so here's our second equation. You can see that I've written it here. And then I've done negative the first equation. So instead of c equals 250, I write negative c equals negative 250. Then I combine these. I add these two equations, which will effectively then subtract the first equation from the second. So c and negative c gives me 0, so I don't even write that down. I've got 30b here, and there's no b to do anything with in the second equation, so I'm just going to have 30b. And I have 900a here, same thing. I'm going to have 900a down here. And 180 and negative 250 is negative 70. Then when I do the third equation minus the first, well, I'd write it down. I'd write the third equation down like this, and I'd have the same thing here. And when I put it together, the c's will again go away because I've got a single c and a single c here. I'm going to have 110b plus 12,100a equals negative 130, because of course, well, you can see why that is. Now that we have these two equations, what do? Well, we want to do exactly what you did for homework for today. We want to eliminate either a or b. Now the numbers on b are smaller than the numbers on a, and I don't see any reason why I would want to try to eliminate a, because I can use smaller numbers on b. I'm going to do what you do generally. Now there's an easier set of numbers I could have used in this particular case, but right now I'm just going to do it by brute force, which is pretty much what you're going to have to do when you do it. Okay? I multiplied the first equation times 110 So I'll be multiplying the 30B and everything else by 110. And the second equation by 30. So I'm going to multiply everything here by 30. And actually I'm going to do it by negative 30. Why? Because that's going to give me 110 times 30B up here, and negative 30 times 110B here. They're going to be equal and opposite, and the B's are going to go away. Okay? So, now I'm pretty sure I don't want to do those numbers. Actually, yeah, I probably kind of can. Yeah, okay, I think I can do that. Okay. First times 110. 110 times 30, of course, is sorry, 3,300. So I have 3,300B plus, then what? Well, I've got to multiply 110 by 900, okay? Now, that's going to give me $99,000. That one's kind of easy, okay? And 70 times 110 going to be minus minus 7,700. I'm getting that messed up, but that says 7,700. Okay? And then here I'm going to get negative 3,300B. And then it's going to be minus, okay, now 30 times 121,000, 12,100. Well, 3 times 121 is 363. So that's going to be 363 with a couple of zeros on it. And I left my A off here. It should be 99,000A. This would be negative 363, 36,300 A. And then 30 times, well, 3 times 13 is 39, so that's going to be 39,000. Now that might be a little hard to read, but you see that when you put these together, and let's assume that I did my arithmetic correctly, this is going to give us 0. This is going to give us what? Minus 62,700. That's, no, not minus, 62,700 A. And I'm sorry, I keep messing up here. And I had that as 39,000, it's actually 3,900. And that's going to leave us negative 4,800. Now check my arithmetic on that. And it actually should be minus 3,800 because I'm subtracting almost 4,000. Okay? And then you divide this into this, and you're going to get A equals something like about 0.06. We'll put a question mark on that. Not absolutely sure of that calculation. Okay? So, that's what we get here. And then we would plug that value of A in here and solve for B. And then we could take our A and B and plug it in either of these equations and get C.